What is up, y'all? It is your host, Rennie, and you're listening to another episode of the Call Me Crazy podcast. Well, we're finally here.
We have made it on a Monday.
Do you think this is going to be the one?
We're going to find out.
I sure hope so. Me and Paige, wow. Listen, we produce some great work, but sometimes we produce absolutely none at all.
We just don't do anything because we're in trouble together, but it's good. It's good.
It's good. Paige is like one of my few friends that I do nothing with. Nothing including eating food, listening to music, drinking wine. I don't usually do that often, but Paige is someone I do that with.
I bring out the best in her. No, she brings out the best in me. She truly is one of like the most amazing people I know. And when she says we do phenomenal work together, she mainly does all the work and I host.
But that is your work. I mean, without the Galley, there is no event because we would have no location. So
we have turned it into quite the venue.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Was that something that you thought about going into it, like that it would be a place to hold events?
Absolutely not. I mean, even the first weekend, the amount that we've changed each year is just crazy. Like look back, like at the end of each season when we close down, because so far every season we've needed to do renovations. You know, make the kitchen space bigger, just make changes to make the whole place more efficient because we've been fortunate enough to have been doing so well. You know, we started middle of COVID. It was, when did we open? It was end of March.
2020?
No.
2019?
It was 2020, but we did the soft opening last weekend of March. I take a step back whenever I can and just say like, to see how far we've come. It's obviously, I can't do it on my own. I've had a lot of great help, family, friends, like get a lot of support. And you know, one of my employees the other day, she actually just said, she's like, do you think that you would be like having so many people from high school, you know, come to support you and all these things? And it's just like surreal, like to see where we're at now after only 3 seasons. You know, I started the business when I was 24. And it kind of just started as a thought, an idea. And I just jumped at the opportunity and here we are, just slinging sandwiches.
Slinging sandwiches, baby. I think my favorite piece of merch from the Galley says made with love and cheese.
Yeah. I don't know. It's obviously a little cheesy, but you know, it's the truth. Every sandwich, you know, I try to see every product that we put out, you know, be there as much as I can and just make sure the quality is like, you know, up to not only my standards, but you know, now we have a standard for the customers where they expect to get that, you know, high quality sandwich. And I wish we could offer more because I wish I could get creative with doing different things, because that's pretty much how I created the menu. I don't know, those of you watching, check out the menu, link here. It was just a great opportunity for me to just like show my creative side. And I guess I could say I'm creative in a lot of things, but definitely food is like where I thrive. You know, I've always been that person that people call like, oh, I'm at this restaurant, what do I eat? You know, like how should I make this? Or, you know, I'm making dinner, what would you do? And I love that because it's like, again, you get to be so creative with food and to be able to show my creative side through food and watch people enjoy it literally from the kitchen. That's one thing that I'm so grateful for at the Galley is I can, from standing in the kitchen making the sandwiches, I can watch the customers take their first bite and just watching their reactions is one of my, you know, all-time favorite things. And just hearing the feedback from customers, it's like, never did I ever think that a sandwich that I created would, you know, someone said that they wanted to move to Norwalk just so they can get this sandwich all the time. You know,
wow.
Little things like that will stick with me forever, where it like also motivates me to want to do more, you know, push myself to see what else I can do. And that's how, you know, why we're doing, you know, we have our full liquor license now, happy hour, we do flatbreads, oysters, all these, you know, different things. And again, just fortunate enough to be able to do it in such a beautiful location. And yeah,
it's gorgeous.
Like, it's hard to explain to people, you know, when they're like, and I don't like when I meet new people, oh, I own a deli, I own a cafe, or whatever you want to call it, you know, because I don't technically own it. It is on a family property, and my uncle did present me with the idea, do you want to take over this space that isn't being utilized to its fullest ability? And and when I say this place is small, the kitchen is basically the size of this couch. It's tiny.
Yeah.
So we've had to work through a lot of obstacles, but why stop at 3 o'clock? That's why we're pushing to do more things. It's gone from just being 7:30 to 3 o'clock to, we're there till midnight some nights on the weekends. We've got live music every weekend. We've really created quite the following, and it's, again, just crazy to think about me
being behind
all of it. You know what I mean? And again, I have a great team and a great support system, and everyone bounces ideas off of each other, sometimes too many opinions. I said I'm going to start charging $5 per opinion because a lot of family members, but it's great. I love everybody that, has been there for me along the way. But it's just such a learning process where I can only do so much with what I have. So that's why, next year we're expanding the kitchen 8 feet, more seating, every summer it's more tables, a bigger bar. We're basically just trying to see how far we can go. Why stop here? Almost. So. Yeah.
So you said it there, the learning process. I love that because I'm kicking off season 5 with Paige, which is the process series. And it's all about showing how people in my life who are so extraordinary have gotten to the place that they're at, right? Because it didn't just start with your uncle presenting you an idea. Right. There were many steps that you took before that got you there.
Absolutely.
So I know you worked in a kitchen prior, but what is your background as far as college? Did you go to culinary school?
Yeah, so I did go to Johnson & Wales. At first I didn't think I was going to go to college at all. And then I was like, why don't I, try to just improve the one thing that I, am passionate about, which is food. So going to culinary school, became that dream where it's like, what else can I learn, and really learn the back end of it, because sure, anybody can, I almost wish that I went to school or didn't go to school, because right now, I could be on Instagram doing all these things, just making videos, but it really, again, doesn't have that same effect as the customer satisfaction. That's huge. But so yeah, I went to Johnson & Wales for only 1 year, doing culinary, and then I ended up switching my major because I was like, these long hours, yes, I almost called food and cooking my hobby at that point, where after taking these classes, 6 o'clock in the morning, getting into our labs, and then being there till 7 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And I was the only one in my friend group really that, that did culinary. Everyone else had a different major. So it was just, I just felt out of place a little bit, where I was
isolated.
I knew what I enjoyed doing, but I didn't know if it was a career that I wanted to pursue at the time. So I withdrew for a little bit, and then kind of just took that leap again and was like, I want to go back to school. I want to finish. What else is something that I, could find myself doing as a career? So I switched to fashion merchandising and retail, again, in that, creative field. Mm-hmm. And I then wanted to become an interior designer. And that was just the major that they offered closest to that field at the school that I was already accepted to at Johnson & Wales. So then I went back, I graduated, got my bachelor's degree, came home. I started working at Lily & August. I got an internship with them. And a year later, I want to say, my uncle represented the idea, because it was a thought, like I said, at first, and then kind of came back to me and was like, do you actually want to,
mm-hmm.
make something happen down here at the marina? And I was like, you know what, I've got nothing to lose. I have my whole family behind me, and why not? I never know if I don't try. Right. And, I call it my COVID project, creating the menu, because it was just that I was able to take the time to really sit back and be like, what sandwiches have I eaten, or what flavor combinations do I enjoy that, people might not think to put together, but could be really good. So that's really the inspiration for the sandwiches. We do breakfast and lunch, and we got a pretty extensive menu, and I wanted to make sure to offer, you can make any changes to the menu and do whatever you want, because when I go to eat, not saying, because I know a lot of chefs take it as an insult if you change something on their menu, but like me, I just know what I want, and I know how I like it. So if that's how you are as a customer, I totally understand. But obviously the sandwiches are great as they are. But yeah, so that's kind of just, and sandwiches have always been that type of thing for me, where there's really no limits. Put whatever you want between these two slices of bread. As long as you've got a great bread, a great spread, and a great cheese, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the foundation of all of the sandwiches. And we make all of the sauces and spreads homemade, which is it's really fun to, just, I don't have anything written down. No recipes are permanent. It's just try it, and if it tastes like it should, then it's good to go. And, that's really my culinary background. And obviously, Italian family, my mom, my grandma, huge cooks as I was growing up. Being in the kitchen with both of them has always been, just something that I hold so close to me and I know a lot of people say that, but that's really how you grow up learning, what you want to do. If your parents are, a singer or a writer or whatever, you see them do that and put their passion and their heart into what they enjoy. And as a kid growing up, that's how you learn to what you like and what you don't like. And just the final product has always just been so mind-blowing. My mom and grandma's meals are always so simple, but they're done right, and that's why they taste so good. So that's the one thing for me. It's people always joke, you gotta have diners, drivers, and dives on here. I'm okay, first of all, we don't really do much to make these sandwiches. It's just knowing the combinations that go together and what work, and just using the right ingredients, the fresh ingredients, of course, and just willing to take a risk with expanding your food horizons. So
to paint a picture in people's head for those of the viewers who don't live in Norwalk and don't know what the Galley is, what was new merch, what was that space being used for before? So the Galley is on the Cove Marina, right?
So we're located in Norwalk Cove Marina, and it is a beautiful waterfront space. But before it was the Galley, originally it was created to be a dock office for the marina, because above all, Norwalk Cove Marina is a functioning marina. There's a lot that does go on there. There is another restaurant there, Sunset Grill. And that specific space was created to be an office, because that's how small it is. We've got these barn doors that my dad built that hide the electrical panels for the fuel dock. It's not. It was never meant to be a kitchen, and we face problems. We realize that every day as we're working around these little, obstacles that we have to face, but. After they realized they didn't need that space for an office, it was turned into just a regular coffee shop. It was called the Captain's Cup, and it really just had an espresso machine in there. They would get baked goods from other local businesses, and egg sandwiches that they would just keep warm in a heater. Really, main reason for that was to just provide the boaters, an option rather than just going to dinner or, having lunch. A lot of people want coffee, and there's a lot of employees and workers throughout the marina that, need lunch or, don't want to leave the marina, because you're not around a lot of things when you're down at the marina. There's only a few options. So that's why my Uncle Robbie, who was in charge of the marina, was we've got to give these customers some more options, something that they can look forward to. When I think of it, if I were to ever go to vacation, at another marina, say Newport or wherever, and you go to a marina, there's all these other shops and all these different things that you can do. So I really think it was just kind of the starting point to see what else can be, inside the marina, what else can attract different customers. That's kind of what when the idea was presented to me, we want to bring people in that don't have boats here. We want to make people know there's mini golf, you have a beautiful view here, there's sound sailing, there is the beach, and I always say that Norwalk, I think, is a little underrated, and I think as the town, the city has done a great job to kind of make that show how beautiful of a town it is. Norwalk Marina is just a little part of that. So went from a dock office to now
that's crazy.
Cafe, deli, happy hour, live music, venue, events. I've done weddings. I've done all these things that I never thought would happen. At that first weekend when we were opened, it was I go to these other cafes and I'm I I want it to be like this, you know, where you walk in and it's like
it's quiet.
you help yourself to the coffee and things like that. Because another obstacle we face is there is no indoor dining or any customer access inside. It's all outdoor, like order windows, and then we bring the food out. So we're working in this tiny space that is now the front of the house and the kitchen, you know, and storage, and has the electrical panel for the dock office. You know, we've got people coming in for the fuel, like refills and all this stuff. So it's a lot of a very small space, but a lot going on at all times, you know, because it's a makeshift kitchen, I would call it, but the food isn't, you know. It's like, it's just crazy to see. I get like memories on my phone from a year ago, 2 years ago, and it's like, how were we doing it like this? Where, you know, and it's only getting bigger and better because we can't, again, very fortunate, you know, we can't keep up with the demand. And it's like, I never, ever, ever thought that it would be such a hit. Like, you know, it's thriving and it's great, and I just can't wait to see like what's next.
Yeah. So. Would you say your customer base, like if you could say it in percentages, like what comes from the marina and what comes from just like regular consumers, outsiders, you'd say?
Yeah, so like I would say the first year, you know, it definitely was a lot of employees from the marina, a lot of family, because not only my immediate family, but I do have just like a very big extended family that come from all different, you know, places when they're visiting and things like that. So I think that might have helped like build the foundation where people were trying the food and kind of spreading the word. You know, and I, in the beginning, was, you know, posting on Instagram, trying to advertise and things like that. And I kind of pulled back from that because we didn't want to upset the customers because of the wait time, because of the size of the kitchen. You know, I always say, I don't think I would be able to wait an hour for a sandwich, but to see somebody say, yeah, absolutely no problem, like I'll wait an hour for a breakfast sandwich, it blows my mind, you know, and people have started to come from all different directions. We were just saying how people come by boat from Long Island or all these other places just to eat the sandwiches, and they love it, and there are a lot of returning customers. You know, it's great to see through my POS system, you know, the percentage of customers that are returning is much greater than the new customers. So wow. It's really cool to see, you know, people are coming back because they enjoy they enjoy the product, and the view helps, you know, and it's great to also see like feedback where the staff always gets, you know, good reviews. It's kind of as a whole, you know, you can't just base a restaurant off the food because just get takeout, you know. Yeah. You know, you want to go and have an experience, and I think that we've definitely achieved that. You know, you don't come and expect a quiet day. You know, there's always myself, my mom running around, you know, my grandma is there doing the flowers. And I think the customers really enjoy seeing, you know, this business that we've built together as a team and as a family. And it just creates like, you know, that whole ambiance. It's a, you know, dinner and a show.
So to take them back a little bit, Paige and I met when a former client of mine recommended your location for a fashion show that we were planning. That was back in 2021, summer of 2021, June to be specific. And that was an incredible event. It turned out amazing. Beautiful. It was just, I mean, you already have the beautiful view and the setup, and like you said, your grandmother's flower arrangements that are incredible.
And mom. Can't forget Diane.
So that was incredible. And then fast forward to September.
Yeah.
Did we do that in September?
I think it was like September 19th.
Yeah, September. I think it was like the second week of September, we held an event, just Paige and I, called the Local Link Up. It is an event that will continue. Yes. It didn't happen this year, but it will happen next year.
I think, honestly, those two things alone kind of was like a kickstart to like figuring out what else is possible down there. You know what I mean? Like using the walkway or, you know, the sidewalk, because we do have our own patio that is like designated to the Galley, but we do also have, you know, like a grass area that has shuffleboard and additional picnic tables, and, you know, breezeway that's open to the public. People actually always come and are like, oh, do we have to be a member to be here? And no, you don't. You can just come, free parking, and, you know, people come on their own with food. You just enjoy dinner down there, but it's like throw up a few arches or, you know, some decorations. You know, it's crazy to see how it can transform into such a beautiful venue space. So after those 2 events, it was like people were inquiring about doing all different types of things. Like I mentioned, you know, I hosted a wedding. I've done several like wedding parties, birthday parties, obviously, a bunch corporate events, and you know, it just.
And blossom.
Yeah, you know, the options are pretty much limitless. You know, we can transform it into whatever you really want it to be. You know, it's this outdoor space and it's on the water, and I love when people have events like later in the day because our regular customer base doesn't really get to see that. Like the beautiful sunsets, you know, when the sun goes down, it gets like, you know, a beautiful breeze on like a nice summer night. So to be able to see customers, you know, get the opportunity to see how nice it is down there after hours, it's great. You know, we've got the music. My dad hung these beautiful string lights. Yeah. So again, it's every season we've had to lay new cement because we needed to create a bigger patio. We've moved a tree, things like that, where it's like we didn't think it was going to be such like a big hit outside because we didn't know what to expect. But again, you know, opening in the middle of COVID, having a space where you don't have to go inside, you know, obviously kept the 6 feet, but not having to be inside and limit the amount of customers that you can have at once was great to just, you know, you order at the window and then you walk around, you know, enjoy the view, you sit down. But yeah, I think we took advantage of that opportunity in the middle of COVID where people still want to go out and eat, but there were all the restrictions. So it was a great, you know, time to start up, and you know, I don't think we're going anywhere.
What's your season? Because you're a seasonal restaurant because of the outdoor space.
Right. So, you know, typically, or, you know, in a perfect world, I would like to open, you know, end of March. We've never opened the same time any season yet because of, you know, all the different things that we've tried to work on. Last year we were supposed to do the renovations. Unfortunately, weren't able to get the permits in time. So that's what we're going to do this season. So as soon as we're closing for the season, October 30th this year. Going to start the renovations right away and then hopefully be able to open for March. And then, you know, it's hard because a lot of people do want us to stay open later in the season because they want the food. But once it gets cold down there, you know, it is windy. And again, there is no indoor seating or you can't come inside. So you're waiting out there in the cold. And as much as I would like to be able to push the season, you know, to November or through November, I don't think that it would ever, you know, be a full year business because just of all the restrictions, because they start pulling boats out, which end up going basically in our dining area. But in the future, once the kitchen is finally, after this 3rd season, you know, completely finished, we will work on more, you know, different businesses within the business. You know, I want to focus on catering, doing more events, being able to cook in the kitchen, but catering elsewhere, you know, at people's houses. I've done a few events at other people's houses, which is great. And again, also gives me the opportunity to be creative and like create those menus that cater to the client based on the event that they're hosting. But, you know, just to be able to have that commercial kitchen on hand and utilize it is what I'm really looking forward to the most, because the Galley has become an established business, and I just want it to grow as a whole and be able to, you know, use the kitchen year round, and, you know, try out new things, experiment, you know, different menu items and things like that. And with the bigger kitchen next year, I really hope to do more specials, you know, just like other options, because as I said, we're just sandwiches right now, but people come looking for all different things, you know, smoothies, salads, things like that. And, you know, I'd love to be able to do it all, but it's just, we're restricted because of the space. And, you know, it's hard to decide, you know, where to stop, you know, like as much as I want to do everything, you know, I can't do pizzas, oysters, happy hour, breakfast, lunch, you know, it's like, well, we're a diner at that point, you know, it's like we have to just focus on what we do right. And just kind of work with that, but you know, so.
Will you be able to, because I'm like thinking about the soup you made last night, will you be able to introduce like soup to the menu, maybe a butternut squash?
Yeah, I actually did a butternut squash soup the other day for my sister's birthday party that was hosted down at the marina. Yes, I want to do soups, especially this time of year, you know, where it's cooler, and you don't need to have a full lunch to come sit out there and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just want a snack and, you know, bring your laptop and work, you know, whatever, a light lunch. So soup is actually my favorite food, and it's another thing, just as sandwiches, you know, that you can be so creative with it, you know what I mean? Just because chicken noodle soup or, you know, broccoli cheddar, those things are what people know, it doesn't mean that you can't, like, try different things, or like, you know, experiment with all the different flavors that could go into a soup. You know, you just need a base and then add whatever you want to it, and I just find that, like, super fun. So this year I've done a few soups. It's just hard because we have such a set, I don't want to say method, but we're so accustomed to the way things operate right now because it seriously is such a
well-oiled machine.
Yeah, basically, like, it's just, we know exactly how to operate from breakfast to lunch to switch over, you know, and trying to incorporate new menu items kind of just throws everybody for a curveball because we're like, where do we put this? You know, how do we serve it? Because it's all different things that we don't, you know, do on a daily basis. So again, with the bigger kitchen, I'm hoping that we'll have room, you know, to have soup, you know, be served on a daily basis, things like that. I really want to be able to do, like, omelets. Was one thing that I was going to try to kick off this year. Wasn't able to do it just because, again, restricted space in the kitchen. But we were going to do like our own play on omelets and do them in, like, a waffle maker. Because I would make them at home for myself. I got a little, you know, mini waffle maker, and I would just scramble eggs and throw the toppings in, and it cooks the eggs in like a minute, 2 minutes, and you know, it is an omelet in its own, you know, and doesn't take up any more grill space, which is what we struggle with the most. So I just think fun things like that, like, obviously you have to do it the right way because some people might think it's weird to have eggs that look like a waffle. I don't know.
I think it's a very Instagrammable moment. I think people will be coming near and far for the waffle.
The waffle omelet. The island style omelet is what we would call it, inspired by another family member, my cousin Leah. So island style omelet is, you know, one thing that we're trying to make happen for the next season too. We do baked goods as well. You know, we've got everything that your regular deli would offer: bagels, muffins, all of those things. And then obviously the sandwiches is where we thrive, you know, and it's, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, pretty much, is like all I could say. And, you know, I try to do specials with, you know, to, you know, cut back on food waste and things like that. So there definitely will be additional menu items to come. It's just kind of deciding what and how.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for the new stuff. It'll be good.
I think it's going to be good. I'm excited to see once the kitchen's finally done.
The possibilities.
The possibilities, right? Because it's like, we didn't think that we'd be doing what we're doing now in such a small space, and we're basically doubling the size of the kitchen. So, you know.
It's incredible. Is it going into the parking lot?
Right. So we're going to bump out, for those of you who've been there, by the women's bathroom, out into the parking lot. So we're going out like 8 feet there, and then the plan is to create like an outdoor like hut almost, I want to say, like for the bar. So, you know, we'll have like little doors that swing up, and, you know, a door that you can get inside, have actual refrigeration for our bar. Because right now, you know, we just got the well, because since everything is outside, it's all, you know, satellite pretty much with the pizzas too. We've got this rolling cart that we do the pizzas on. We've made everything work to the best that we can, but with this addition, it's really going to open up so many doors, because we'll have just a bigger blueprint, like floor print of what we can work with. So we're gonna back up the bar to that. You know, I want to be able to put the pizza ovens inside of there, you know, get kegs and do, like, make it an official bar, just like the kitchen is going to become a more legit commercial kitchen.
Besides all that, what you're working on for next season is, like, what's the future of the Galley? Do you see it just continuing to be a destination spot? Do you know, see it franchising in the future, having other locations? I would love to, you know, be able to see the Galley in other towns. You know, I've actually had some customers be like, you know, we moved to this place, we would love to have you here, like, and in a perfect world, yeah, that would be amazing. But, you know, even within the marina itself, you know, there's all these like dreams that I think about, where it's like, what else can be done here? You know, we have this huge property where it's like, this is just a sandwich shop, like, let's do something else, you know, like, let's create another restaurant. But I would never want to change what the Galley is. You know, I would never
veer away from doing just sandwiches and things there. Like, you know, and I would love to create another restaurant, a whole new concept. But for, yeah, I mean, why not dream big? Like, I would love to like franchise it. And that's kind of the direction I was going with the name, because for those of you that don't know, the Galley comes from, it's the name of kitchen in a boat. So that's kind of where I created that. Like, you know, I was just, and the menu has a play on all different like local Norwalk islands, or just local islands. And then all the lunch sandwiches are named after different boat brands. So again, cheesy, made with love and cheese, you know, gotta be corny, but it works. So, you know, the Galley at Norwalk Cove Marina, you know, could easily be, you know, the Galley at Newport, you know, or, you know, just like play off of that. So, you know, the kitchen on the boat, the kitchen elsewhere, the kitchen wherever we are, you know. So, yeah.
But that's really cool. I feel like you definitely have space for other restaurants on the marina.
Right, yeah. So that's like what we, you know, talking to my family, it's great to be able to work with a family, and kind of just, again, dream big together and say, you know, what else can we do with this property that, you know, we're so fortunate. My great-grandfather is the one that founded Norwalk Marina, you know, dug it up with his bare hands, and it's been passed down for generations. So, you know, the whole family is involved, and I just, again, feel so fortunate to be involved at such a young age, because I have so many visions where it's, you know, I'm down there every day and I'm like, again, why stop here? Like, we can do so much more with what we have, you know, and only time can tell. So, you know, it's exciting to think about, but I would definitely need to take some business advice from Rennie over here and organization advice, so I can really focus on how to, you know, because that's one thing I do wish I had more experience in, is how to run a business. You know, sure, I can create sandwiches, but have I ever run my own business? Absolutely not, you know, and it is a struggle on a day-to-day basis, you know, kind of figuring out exactly what the hell I'm doing, and dealing with, you know, not only the customers, but, you know, I have my own staff and I have to deal with all these personalities, and it has been the most insane learning process that I've ever gone through. You know, it's like, I never expected it to be so, you know, people tell me, oh, owning a restaurant is the hardest thing that you're ever going to do, all this stuff. And, you know, obviously you have to learn for yourself. And that's kind of what I'm doing. But, you know, you can't do it on your own. It definitely takes a team, and, you know, with the right team, which I definitely have with me right now, but, you know, it's never going to be big enough, because if we grow, you know, only the team will grow and only the problems will grow. So it's like definitely an off-season thing to consider, you know. Really had to plan that one out, but because only working in such a small place, I can only imagine. I think about it all the time, running a kitchen that has, you know, 15 different employees, you know, in front of the house. Like, we don't even really, we have a front of the house staff, but we don't have a wait staff because we don't have a dining room, you know. It's very fast casual, but I don't know.
Is it true what they say about restaurants and the fact that, I mean, any small business, any startup, people say expect to be in the red for the first 2 years, and then after that there should be some profit, and people often say that, like, restaurants are something that not a lot of money is made and more headache is ensued with that kind of business? I
definitely agree with that, because I mean, again, we're in a very unique situation where we're constantly trying to fix these problems that we face with, like, you know, the expansions and things like that. So going into it every season, we do have this overhead because we're doing so much work that doesn't even have, before the season even starts, you know. So we do have that overhead all the time at this point, you know, because we're not really making any money, like profit at this point, you know. But it's, again, when the idea was presented to me, it's like the family wasn't really looking to, again, like, it's a marina first, and the Galley is just providing those marina customers, you know, with something to do, something to eat, and those things. So it wasn't their main objective to make a lot of money with this place, and it was really just for customer satisfaction. So yeah, I could definitely say being in the red is probably going to be a 5-year thing for us, you know, like, yeah, we're doing great, we are successful, but it's also, you know, you have to cover the costs of everything. You have to cover the cost of the construction, number one, all the problems that we face, you know, getting things repaired, you know, we've got leaks, we have all this equipment that it breaks, you know, you can't, you don't know what to expect, and obviously it's just money out of the pocket because you have to get things fixed in order to operate. So labor, you know, food costs, just things that you wouldn't necessarily expect from like the blind eye. You wouldn't just know that these things are going to happen. And, you know, it's also hard dealing with, you know, the inflation and everything changing. So at this point, you know, we don't even really have the prices listed on all the menus that are on display because everything is constantly changing. So that requires us to change the price of everything. And, you know, it's hard where someone comes and gets lunch, they get a coffee or they get a certain type of drink and a sandwich and they make all these changes. So, you know, it comes at they're almost like shocked by the price of their sandwich. And, you know, that happens to me times where I go and I'm like, oh, all I got was this. But you really have to consider all that goes into making that one item, you know what I mean? It's not, you're not just getting eggs, you know, you're getting the bread, the cheese. And for us, we don't skimp. We do, you know, they're hearty sandwiches. So it's like, 2 pieces of cheese on each sandwich, 2 pieces of bacon, you know, this X amount of ounces per sandwich of meat. And it's like, these are things that people don't necessarily consider when they're just going out to eat. Right. Yeah. And like, unless you've like worked in the industry and you understand, it's, you know, even for me, it's a hard concept to grasp. And I'm like, I don't want to charge that much. I feel bad almost, you know, but it's like, we got to stay afloat. And, you know, we got to do what you got to do. You got to pay, exactly, we got to pay the employees. And although we are a small place, it takes a lot of, you know, manpower to make it function and operate the way that we do because it's fast paced and people come expecting it to be, you know, deli time, like fast, but we make everything fresh. So it's something that we've really struggled with trying to get the customers to understand, like, you know, we don't have your chicken made like pre-made for you, you know, we're frying and grilling and making all of these sandwiches fresh. And not only that, you've got 30 people in front of you, so it's gonna take a little bit of time, you know? And that's just one thing that the goal for the bigger kitchen is to really just improve the efficiency and the wait time because, you know, people won't come back if they know that they have to wait that long. But a lot of people have learned, you know, call ahead, the food will be ready for you when you get there, you know, or just
that's nice.
Place your order, enjoy the view. Yeah, you can call ahead. We've got a separate pickup window on the side, so you don't have to wait in line when you get there. And, you know, like, if you're a great returning customer and the line is long, you know, we'll help you out. You can pay your tab next time. Things like that, where it's like, since it is such a, you know, family, friend-oriented place, like, we understand you're human. You got shit to do. You got to go. Like, you know, you can't wait. And a lot of people do come up by boat, so they're fueling up and they're like, okay, I only have this amount of time, you know. So we do what we can, but it also, you know, we can't choose to put one customer in front of the other when they've just, you know, been waiting just as long. But, you know, we accommodate everybody as best we can.
If you could give, and I wanted you to specifically talk to a young woman when you give this advice. If you could give a young woman advice on anything when it comes to starting in the restaurant business, what would it be?
Well, I think just a business in general, but definitely for, you know, a restaurant itself is really just kind of like, I wish I knew that obviously you can't predict what's going to happen, but really just like setting like the goals of what you want to come from the business as a whole really would make a difference. Like making sure you have that tone set for your customers and for your employees, so you're not second guessing yourself, you know. And that's one thing that I struggle with a lot is having so many different opinions, is kind of standing my ground with what exactly, like, what is the purpose of this place? You know, what is the goal of the business as a whole? And I think just making sure you have that, like, one main priority, and, you know, just, obviously you can set new goals along the way, but your end goal, I guess, your vision, you know, make sure you stay true to that, because if you don't, you know, you're going to get persuaded to do things that you don't necessarily want to do, which will take away from your business as a whole. And, you know, it's your business for a reason. You know, you're creating this product, your baby, you know what I mean? Like, you're creating this business to show what you can do as a person. And I think that that's really important to kind of just like stay true to yourself and stay true to that business plan that you started, this dream that you had, and make sure it's still what you want and what you're doing and what you're working towards at the end of each year, for me, for each season, and being able to step back and reflect on what you could change for yourself to make the business thrive is one thing that I struggle with the most, I think. So that would probably be like the advice that I would give, is really just like stay true to your vision and never give up on it. Like work towards that end goal, because there's been so many times where I'm like, I can't do this anymore, this isn't what I want to do, but at the end of the day it is, because I've created something that I'm so proud of and that makes so many other people happy, that make me happy. It's not going to always be perfect and rainbows and butterflies and all the happy customers. Like, don't get me wrong, we get upset customers too, and that's just part of the business, and that's with any business. You don't know how other people are going to react to your product. So I think that it's a scary thought, but it's also a very motivating thing. Like, how many people can I make happy?
Mm-hmm.
And that is way more important than the few people that are upset because of how long they wait, or the product that they got was not the sandwich they ordered or something like that. And I always say that in order to really understand when you go out to eat or when you go to any restaurant and have that experience, it makes such a difference when you're dealing with people that understand the situation, like have worked in a restaurant before, have worked in a kitchen before, or worked with customer service, because there are those people that just don't grasp the concept of customer service at all, and they think the whole world revolves around them. Obviously that's not true, but the customer's always right. You always have to put a smile on your face, but it really, it's a challenge to just like, stay true to that. This is what I want at the end of the day, and you can't really let anyone else's opinions like veer you away from that. So, and make sure you have a good support system behind you. And if you don't, be that support system for yourself, and don't let anything like really get in the way. Oh, I think my rugs are going off.
A little air drying of the laundry, and the rugs may be afloat.
Rugs might end up in the river. So yeah, and as a woman, it is hard, and being a young woman is even harder, because I have people working for me, or customers that come and they're much older than me, so it's hard to have that confidence where it's like, I do know what I'm doing, I do know what I'm talking about. Like, obviously I don't know everything, and I don't know, and I'm always willing to learn, and I want to learn. I want to be able to, when I'm 45 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, be like, I'm here right now because of the work and the pressure and all this stuff that I went through when I was younger. And, it made me so much wiser and a more confident business owner. So I think that, like, it's just make sure that you can deal with it mentally and, have that, like, passion for yourself, because it really does take a lot of, passion and love for what you're doing to be able to fight through, like, the hard times and really, like, take a step back and just think about what's next. You know what I mean? Like, you have to pull yourself out of that moment in time, because, if I were to quit anytime I had a rough day, like, we wouldn't be here right now, and
Exactly.
It's just, it can be a discouraging process, but, it also can be like the most amazing, end result. So just like, I know it's like, again, so corny, but like, don't give up, because it's a rough day doesn't mean a bad business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One bad day does not reflect who you are as a person or as a business owner, and as long as you're making yourself happy and making your customers happy, then you're doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing what you want to do.
What would you say to any potential new customers, or to even your regulars?
Well, those are two different groups. To any new customers, I would say, just be patient with us. We are. I'm a real human. I'm not a robot, and I don't always have everything perfect. But it comes in. You can't know how someone else is going to react to what you're doing. So just really being patient and enjoy the view. If your sandwich is taking a little bit of time, just take a walk, play games, listen to the music, grab a drink. We have all of these things out and available to the customers, because we know that the wait can be, a little bit of an excessive wait at times, but we're working on that, and just bear with us. Nothing is perfect. We're all human, and we're all doing the best that we can, and once you get your food, you will be happy, you will be satisfied. And if you ever do come and have one bad experience, we hope to have you back to kind of redeem ourselves. But to any new customers, I think you would enjoy it. So, and any returning customers, I would really just say thank you. And, could not do it without the customers and without the support and without those understanding customers that get what we do on a daily basis. We have those people in the marina that see us there day in and day out, long nights. We've got everybody working there, and it's a group effort, and we're really, really working to create this product that people enjoy, and this ambiance and this environment that people want to come and hang out and enjoy the view and spend time with their family and play games and meet new people, bring their dogs, bring their babies. It's great to see the different clientele that we get, and for all those returning customers and loyal customers and people that have been with us from the beginning, I really would just say thank you and keep coming back, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah. So. Oh my God. Oh, voice crack. Thank you so much, Paige, for inviting me over. For being here.
Of
We're
course.
actually in her house.
Thank you for being here on my couch.
But couch. I can't wait to continue eating your creations. I am partial to a chicken cutlet sandwich. I do go there for a bacon, egg, and cheese every now and again. And just so you know, the lemonade, best in the business.
That is quite the labor-intensive item. So every sip, enjoy.
Yeah, fresh.
We fresh squeeze our lemons, and we make it's a homemade recipe.
It's perfect. I actually hate when I'm having a dull sweet lemonade. You need that sour punch, and it's the perfect amount. So
one of the main opening duties for my staff is to make sure someone tries the lemonade, because there's nothing worse than someone saying, "Oh, this is a little too sour. This is a little too sweet." Obviously, everyone has a little bit of a different opinion, but we do taste lemonade every day. We make our fresh cold brew. Everything we make everything fresh, so you could taste it.
Yeah. We're going to finish this out here. Thank you so much. Thank
you. Oh, and stay tuned for local link up updates.
Oh, yes. The local link up is coming back and better than ever.
Baby. We're going to start planning now. Right now. Our small local business.
Comment down below. Yeah. Hit us up. We want to have you. So the local link up, just to close it out, was an event that we had. It was just like a Sunday fun day of sorts. We had music. We had other food there as well. We had food trucks, including Paige's cousin Neil with the last taco stand. We had raffles. We had giveaways. We had live art, paintings. Literally anything and everything you can imagine.
The limit does not exist. None. So come bring your product, and we are happy to support.
Come all.
And so
see you there. It was good.